And you are recording it? I just
Yeah,
recording on Zoom. Okay.
I'm just saying. I think it's good to have to record all this and start generating some more content. So yeah,
Did
thank you.
everyone get the link except me?
No,
Or what did I do?
no, I sent, like I said, I told Rick earlier, I sent an email a few days ago, but probably again, it's my bad, my mistake because I was somewhere with the other two in-person events.
Okay,
So it should be one email just for this.
got it. Got it. Because I see everyone else got it.
Yeah. And also, if you go to master calendar, should be there.
Got it. Got it. Excellent.
Okay. Uh, so Linda, this is your group. And when you're ready to start the show,
All right.
we we kind of all know each other, right? No need for introduction.
Right. We do know each other. Welcome everybody. Good to see you. Um, we're trying to get more content and more things together for all of you, and uh, reasons to expand this group. I think of all of the Bright business groups, this is probably one of the key groups because every business needs sales, needs marketing, strategies, that type of thing. We've already got a wonderful base to build on here, and Rick has been wonderful to accept the challenge to lead us on the conversation and a talk about branding today. And a lot of people think branding is just a logo and a tagline, and it's so much more 360-degree holistic, uh, that it's so much more than that. It involves your culture, it involves your processes, your people, your team, and all of that. So what we're going to do is have him start out and give us some things to think about. And because we're kind of a smaller group this morning, we can also do an interactive session here as well and share ideas. And after Rick's talk, we're going to put Florin and Right Business on the hot seat because we are all part of this project and we want to see it grow, and we want to increase our membership to a certain type of persona. And that's what we're going to be digging into more and more. We've got a new year coming up. Everybody's, you know, all businesses are looking at new budgets, looking for new things to try in the new year. So it's a really great opportunity for us to start working on this in earnest uh, before the new year. So we'll start off by talking about Bright Business and how we can improve our brand out in the marketplace. And also, if you all have or know someone that has a topic that you'd like us to talk about, AI is really hot right now. Is it for everybody? Social media, anybody getting a real return on their social media? It's not a one-to-one fit for all businesses. So what are the things that are a great fit for individual businesses? How do you build your brand in a commodities market? This whole economy and what's going on in Washington, we'll just say it, is a wild card, and it affects whether you're importing things, whether you're facing the heat of prices increasing as the rest of, well, the United States for sure is feeling it. In Canada, Phil, I know you're feeling it there too. So it's it's a timely conversation to have and an ongoing one. So if you have any topics or particular um, issues you'd like us to dig into, we certainly want to have you be a part of shaping our calendar for next week or next year, rather. We've got 12 sessions and we want to book those out in advance so we get great speakers, timely information, and then the hot seats that we do, of course, will always be taking what we've spoken about in the talk portion of the presentation and then applying it to real life with a business or one of us, and taking those thoughts and applying them. So anyway, please interact with me. Yes, I'm your lead person. Francis is working on this with me. We've got Phil, we've got wonderful people in marketing and others that I haven't even mentioned, but we will do our best to create a meaningful exchange for your time here on Tuesday mornings, once a month. That's it. All right. So Rick, why don't we start things off with you and let's hear about some branding.
Perfect. Trying to share my screen here, but sharing is not turned on.
Please, I accept it.
Okay, cool. Perfect. All right. Should be able to just do this right here. All right. Okay, can everyone see my slides right there?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, cool. All right. All right, so branding, let's talk about branding. If you talk to a graphic designer, they're going to talk to you about a couple of different things. You can see a couple of my brands right here. Lowe is my personal brand. Shared Graphics is my business brand for marketing and other things that we do. The reason that graphic designers always talk about the graphic aspect is because that's their job. They only can design your visual identity. They can also talk to you about brand strategy. We're going to dive into branding, though, more as a complete overall thing about what it is for your business, but not just that for you, but also for you. As a business owner, even if you're an individual, branding is extremely important. And we're going to talk to you about it in a very perhaps different way. And what I want to talk about there is I want to talk to you about oak trees. I don't know if many people know this, but when you plant an oak tree, the roots of the oak tree actually are much, 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 much greater than the size of the tree itself. I want to talk to you about a very particular oak tree. It's one that's in the yard of my house that I grew up in when I was a child, which was my grandmother's house before that. So there's a big old oak tree in that yard. It's still there today. My father actually planted the tree when he was 5 years old. And he put an acorn in the ground. And basically, when I was growing up as a 10-year-old, I was climbing that tree. And again, it's still there. My father actually died in February this year, and the tree still stands. His legacy has continued. So I'm going to talk to you about branding and about this particular tree. And I want you to imagine that perhaps you've just planted your tree today. And your logo is the first thing that sprouts out of the ground, that tiny little sapling, the very beginning. This is what a sapling, a small tree, looks like, and the root system of an oak tree, as you can see, is way bigger than the tree. It has to be in order to support the tree and for it to continue to grow and weather a lot of different things. So let's talk about that. I have a graphic here that I put together. This is our grand old oak tree. This is what your brand could eventually become. And the visual identity, the things that you think about in branding, they're only the things that you see. The visual identity, the visual brand strategy, the logo type, the brand colors, your website, the articles you write, the blogs that you put out there, your written word, your graphics, and your text. Those are all things that can be seen, and those are things that you think of as that's your branding, period. But it's way, way, way more than that. And I want you as a business owner to maybe look at some of this and think about it. Let's look at the things that are unseen in branding, the things that you should be thinking about and perhaps identifying as places you can put your branding into. So one of the first things that's not seen is your brand strategy. Where your brand strategy is where you're choosing where you're supposed to be seen. Where is your business going to hang out? Who and what other brands could you be associated with? Well, not only that, but how are you seen? Not just in the eyes of a consumer, but in their mind, viscerally. How does your brand make them feel? What emotion does your brand try to evoke? And how can you create that emotion in their bodies when they see your logo, perhaps? And then also, what is your brand persona? Most people don't think about this, but your brand persona is the personality that your brand has, right? What do people, is it rebellious? Is it cool? Is it calm? Protective? Is it patriotic? secure? Is it funny? Is it weird? Is it superior? Or is it calm, collected, professional, and maybe even relaxed? How you put that together will define how people feel about you. And also perhaps polarize them in some ways. You can push away the people you don't want to attract. And now we come down to differentiation. How is your brand different from anyone else's? How does your brand, again, make people feel? Does it get them excited? Does your brand motivate people to jump into action? Or do you wait patiently and they're there when you need them the most, making you reliable and trustworthy, just like this grand old oak that's been around for generations now? How your customers and the public and even the people that will never buy from you, how do they see you? How do you polarize the marketplace and push people away that your brand was never built for, that you never intended to buy from you? The people that, when I ran an airsoft field, for example, we ran a military simulation style field. We didn't want the run and gun customers, so we made it very, very clear that at this place, you're going to act like military and get treated like the military, and it will push people away very quickly. And we built a very strong brand and loyal customers because of that. So, youthful brands aren't built for the elderly. Very, very clear. That's very, very obvious when you're putting that brand together. It's also part of your marketing, your communication strategy. Not what you say, but how are you going to place that? What words are you going to use? How do you look and feel? How do you present your stories? What kind of emotional connection will your customers have? Why is the emotional connection so important? Because people don't buy with logic. They buy with emotion. And then they make that emotional connection that they really need it first. And they justify the purchase with logic afterwards. If it's a $20,000 project, you need a lot of logic in there after that. But emotionally, you need it first. What are the avatars and personas that you're looking to connect with? What are your customers, for example? Are you trying to connect with Sharon, who's a homeowner and sits, maybe she's at home and she needs something around? Are you trying to connect with mechanics in their workshop? Who is your ideal customer and who are you trying to connect with? And what language will you use that connects with them? Your messaging, how you position yourself in the marketplace. What people do you want to find? And where are you going to find them and how? Right? That's all your marketing strategy. Let's talk about business strategy now. Business strategy is not seen. It's something that we witness. What markets should you push into? Which ones should you avoid? What countries, what languages, what cultures? What does your packaging look like? Where will you manufacture? Can you remember how Apple got into a little bit of trouble because they were making parts in Chinese sweatshops? That did not work for their branding at all. That was not good. Immediately, that suddenly came into the public view. That became a problem for the brand, and it was something they needed to address. What your products, again, using Apple as an example, what do your products look like and feel like? Beats headphones, I actually have not Beats, but Beats headphones are very different to Bose headphones because they're trying to attract different people. Beats are a very youthful market. Bose are more sophisticated. You have to have your brand strategy and business strategy in your branding. It's all part of you. Now, what will your, even down to what your HQ building looks like if you ever get that big. The Apple building is a fantastic and amazing structure built around their company culture and everything that they do. That's all branding. How do you do business? Your business strategy is highly important because that also filters down into something else. Employees. You brand your employees, don't you? How does your brand conduct itself? What is the culture within the company? When the sales managers are having a meeting and talking to the salespeople, and everybody in the company needs to fully understand what this brand is about, how you speak, how you act, how you dress, what your attitude is. Who's the CEO? Who's going to lead and represent that brand? This filters down from the CEO into management, sales meetings, sales pitches, the way, again, the way the staff dress, the uniforms they wear, the way they greet people when people walk into the store. Do you call your customers guests, customers, clients, or something else? This is all branding. The moment you walk into Walmart, you'll have a very different feeling as when you walk into a different store like Kohl's or Target. They will address you differently. You'll get treated differently. That is the culture and the employee branding. How you speak to people, what you say in emails, phone calls, presentations. Every single part of your company culture starts with the branding first. It starts with the personality of your business, and it comes from the top and must come down from there in every root of this company here. It must be one of the most important things. The way they dress, your attitude. I think I mentioned that. All these things, how you interact. Retail staff, we talked about. Think about Walmart and Target. Those things are very different. But now think about Costco. Did that just change something in your mind? Costco is a brand that you can feel. When you're in Costco, the staff and everything you experience is the same wherever you go. It's a very big part of their brand. By the way, I call Costco Chaos Co. because it's pretty much chaos whenever I go there. Now, why is this all so important? Because Phil actually knows a lot about this. He talks about it a lot. What does this all add up to? A small part of it's visual, some of it's how you feel, but what does it all amount to? And this is the most important thing right here. Your brand equity. What is your brand worth? But more importantly, what is your brand worth to others? Right? How much is this company worth when you come to closing down, or you want to sell it, or you want to move on, or your exit strategy, or any of those things, or never mind any of that? It also matters when you're putting together 401k plans. It matters with your accounting. It matters with every single part of you. What is your company worth? When you get an evaluation, they're going to tell you how much your customers are worth and how much your income is worth. And part of that equation is your brand equity. When you come to selling it, how much is it worth to other people? Are they loyal customers? What is the goodwill of this company here? How loyal are people to it? Personal, is it timeless? Again, my father planted this tree when he was 5 years old. He died at 72 earlier this year. The tree is still there because the root system was strong and the whole brand was amazing. Visceral branding. I'm going to try this one with you. This says right here, what does your brand smell like? People go, what do you mean by that? Well, think about it. If you think about Chili's, for me, I always think about their fajitas and the sizzling and the smell of the restaurant when I walk in. But if I think about the smell of Target compared to Walmart, Walmart smells differently in my mind when I see the logo because that brand is so strong and so visceral. I literally feel it and smell it and feel it in my senses. That's how deep a brand can be and how it can go. One thing that people probably don't recognize or know about much here is there's a company in the UK that was called Austin Allegro many years ago, and it became the Rover Group eventually. This is a very famous company. They manufactured the Mini. Who knows what the Mini is? Everybody knows what a Mini is, right? The only piece of the Rover Group that was worth selling was the Mini. And guess who bought the brand? BMW. BMW is not about to buy cheap brands. The brand of the Mini was far, far bigger than the valuation of the entire Rover Group itself, and the only thing they were able to sell or move on from afterwards. So that brand loyalty, the big thing that you're building, what you say on the phone, the things that you do every single day, think about that. When you're operating, how do you put that into your business? How do you present yourself? My personal brand's got a lot of energy like it is right now. This is who I am wherever I go. When I have conversations, this is me. right? This is exactly who I am. And I definitely piss some people off, and that's okay. I don't care about those. They can go away. But I want you to, when you're going through each day, your branding might even be the legacy that you leave behind, or you pass it on to someone else. And the bigger the brand equity, the more you're giving them. So think about the grand old oak tree. When you think about branding, know that just like that grand old oak tree in my parents' yard, it stood the test of time. This tree has weathered many vicious winters, wind, snow, rain. It's lived through 2 hurricanes, one that was over 135-mile-an-hour winds. This tree still stands. It didn't even budge. Now, when we look at that grand old oak tree, we see a thing of beauty. It's magical to behold. But the only reason that tree still stands, just like your brand, the only way your brand can continue is because there's always more roots than there are branches. And the deeper they go, the stronger your brand will become. You can literally cut that tree down and new oak trees will grow from the root system. Other things will sprout up in its place. If you can build something like that, even if it's just you, I plan to do that and would build myself a massive personal brand. Even if it's just you with an accounting company or whatever it is that you do, think about everything you do and say each day and what value you bring to people. That is what branding is about. It's so much more than just a logo. And anybody can create a very valuable brand if they implement these things on a day-to-day. There you go. Any kind of questions, any comments, anything anybody wants to share on that?
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
Love
How
it.
do you quantify the effectiveness of your brand? For example, you get a client and they say, okay, we really need help here. And then you install and train and implement your approach. How can you show them in a quantified way that it was effective?
After, are you talking about after the fact, after you've done what you do in operations?
Right. In bottom line numbers to their company.
Okay. How do I transfer that to branding?
Right. In other words, they were doing whatever they were doing. You added your program on top of it so they know any effects that would have any effects came from your program. So how do you measure the
Okay. So how I would talk about branding with relating to client relations and perhaps performance-based things in such a way would be, first of all, before I speak to them, I will have targeted the right people and I would have differentiated my brand from anyone else in order that I can charge more and I can provide a better service for them. And I do that with I don't sell web design, but I do design websites. So, and how do I quantify that after the fact, after I've sold it, after I've done it all? Well, part of my branding is also part of how I present everything, right? So when I'm in a meeting or I'm talking to, or it's part of everything that I do. So I have reports, for example, that I send out that are marketing reports, depending on what the client wants. I will send them, tidbits. I will send them marketing information. Oh, you're ranking at this position here, and here's where you were before, and here's how what we've been doing for you has helped you. And then not only that, we don't stop there. We're going to tell them about their future. Where are we going next? Well, here's the next step. We need to build this particular content, or we need to do something else. But to answer your question is quantifiable statistics, although they don't really apply to the branding. It's more of a performance-based statement. It's more about how you present it and who you are throughout the entire process from beginning to end. And that from the very first time you meet them, the feeling that they get in their body almost. The reason that they trusted you and chose you was because they had that emotional connection. And you need to nurture that and maintain that throughout any of your presentations and keep your branding the same. Even if it's a horrible conversation about how you've not performed very well, let's talk about that. Does your brand continue to represent your company in the same exact way? Yes, it absolutely should. How you conduct calls with pissed off customers. That's another one. Same thing. You're just going to maintain the same brand and the same thing throughout the entire process. Sometimes things don't work out, but sometimes those clients will still recommend you. That's more important, isn't it?
Yeah.
It gets down to before and after, you know, the big criticism of marketing is, okay, you're going to do these things, you're going to implement these programs. Did I get my return on the investment of paying you?
Okay.
And pay means you increase profits to do so.
I would disagree. And here's why. When you're talking about marketing, marketing isn't always the same strategy. So let's use, say, social media as a comparison. There are two main ways you can market on social media. One would be social media marketing, right? And that is typically you're trying to build brand equity. It's branding, trying to make your company top of mind, right? And it's a branding strategy. However, if you're running social media ads, that's a different type of social media. It's social media ads, right? So if you're running ads, it's very quantifiable because you can understand how many impressions you had, how many leads you generated, how many, and also let's not forget that performance when it comes to ads is not only to be blamed on the marketing. It could also be a problem in the sales process where, you know, that's not converting well enough on that end. And so when you come down to revenue, revenue has a long path from marketing to revenue. So branding has no ROI, no tangible ROI as far as money and revenue. So that's where I'm disagreeing with you. But you can, however, quantify brand strategy and you can quantify how many impressions you had, perhaps how much your audience is growing. What, you know, when you're having the sales calls, are they a little bit perhaps easier? And where is your strategy going over the next 10 years? Because branding is a more of a long-term strategy, whereas with the sales process within sales and ad revenue, that's an entirely different quantifiable topic. And you can show your clients how you actually perform there. And there is, it's really very simple. The process from prospect all the way to product, as you go across that line, there are certain things that can go wrong. If you can identify where the problem is, you can fix it. So those are different really things there, but that's how you would quantify that. When it comes to branding and presentation to clients, that is how you would handle that. And that's how I would handle it if I was doing ad campaigns or branding campaigns. They have different goals and different strategies.
May I interject something real quick about that topic, because it's a big topic that, as a person who's been in marketing and advertising design my entire career, that question always comes up because every client wants an ROI, and branding is one of those things in its purest form is really, you know, it's linear and nonlinear. It evolves, it responds, it supports. So there's that piece of it that's very difficult to put a specific number on, but you can watch if you're doing these things properly, you can watch your profits increase, your prices go down. You're trying to build that intelligence into how you're reacting to your marketplace. Here's a couple of things that I've done actually that are tactical. where we've got somebody where you can do a campaign that you can attach results to, I should say. And in this case, I'm going to give you two examples of a couple of technology businesses we used to work with. One was a company that did big enterprise scale software solutions, managing robotic tape libraries and security, data security and all that sort of thing. They had a whole suite of products. And they had a new one coming out called Control T. And they were a David versus Goliath type of a situation where they were a new company coming in. They had to, we've talked in our first session about mature market, where if there's only so many people that will buy from a particular product in a given year, if you want to take market share away from somebody else who's already there in front of you, you've got to push them out of the way. So that's what was their challenge. And the name of their product was called Control T. And it managed tape libraries. That's how old this was. But they wanted 15 leads, because this is like a $150,000 product. They wanted to start with like 15 new clients. So how in the world are you going to get through the receptionists, the secretaries, the people that are standing between you and the CEO of that business? This is a big enterprise scale type of a sale. It's like, okay. So we had to come up with a custom solution based on their situation, their problems, their product, all of that. So we started off with sending out a number 10 envelope on a letterhead, introducing Control T. And this was in the envelope. It was just a T. It was a piece of paper T that fell out of the envelope when whoever opened it, landed on their desk. And it was that little mental burr that's stuck in their mind. It's like, what in the world? Oh, that's got to be a mistake. What's that doing in here? But it disrupted the norm of opening a number 10 envelope. Within a week, we sent out this piece, and there's the T. And the brochure says the control is missing from your data center. All of a sudden, there's the missing piece. And it was clever on several levels. And it not only got them their 15 clients in a good old BRC. Anyone here remember what BRC stands for? Business reply card. They got, I think it was 35 or 45 leads and sales from these two pieces. And we achieved and exceeded the goal. And we also got 2 mailing pieces out of 1 piece of paper. So that's why all these do-it-yourself, these things, nothing beats working with a pro that has a vocabulary of ideas and solutions, because these are all bespoke campaigns and programs that professionals can put together for you or work with you to help and consult. One last one real quick. Another company called FileNet. It was a filing system product where they wanted us to, again, create a bunch of leads for a very specific product. They already knew who their customers were because there weren't a ton of people that could use this product. So we sat around the table, me and middle management, and we talked about, okay, what's your budget? What's it worth to you? What can you spend on reaching this universe of maybe 5,000 potential clients? And they said $15 per client. Per outreach. So I said, okay, because everybody first said, well, let's do a trifold brochure. Let's do a mailer. That it always isn't big enough to get their attention, so that you can measure, back to Mike's question, did I get a measurable return? Here's my budget of X thousand of dollars for this project. Did I exceed it? We need to have something that we can use to measure it. So instead of all this tired old ideas that everybody's doing, again, if you want to stand out in a commodities market or amongst all the bombardments that you get from all sorts of areas as a business owner, we all know that. We instead decided to do, and I hope you can see this, a poster. And back then, this is back in the day, there was a thing, they used to call it the green bar menace, the green bar tractor fed reports. There you go. James is going, yep, I remember those awful things. And I hired an artist that this was an illustrator for Sports Illustrated for kids. And this guy, he nailed it. I mean, I chose him because his stuff was genuinely funny. And so the poster, here's the bottom of it. This is like all of the issues that these reports, all the chaos, all of the everything, everybody could relate to it in a funny way. They went, yep. One of the things down the bottom is somebody in a miner's helmet kind of spelunking down in the records department looking for old files, and there's a little mouse chewing on one of them. And the only thing we wanted is a very simple response and simple message. There's a better way to manage reports. And we wanted them to call and get this CD-ROM demo. We took the poster and we bought clear mailing tubes. We rolled the poster on the outside, so you see how this funny cartoon, and it was irresistible to open it. It's like, what in the world is, what's in here? I could go on. I have to save other things for later, but we got a call from FileNet and said these things must have started hitting people's mailboxes at noon or right around noon, because we started getting calls right away for that CD-ROM, so that's the kind of thinking sometimes you have to do. You don't have to spend an extraordinary amount of money on marketing. You have to spend a reasonable amount based on your budget, around 12%, about 12% of your overall budget should be earmarked and allocated for marketing. But what you do, make it hit that target with an indelible impression in someone's mind. So those are two examples of thinking outside the box, and also having a quantifiable measurement based on how people respond to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And just to break down that strategy real quick, in case anyone didn't pick up on it, what Linda's talking about here is direct response marketing. So she's sending something in order to get a quantifiable response, which can be measured. And the most important strategy that she deployed there was differentiation from competition. She didn't differentiate the offer, but she did differentiate the packaging. And so, because it was physical and very real, differentiating the packaging alone can be enough to establish your brand as being completely different to everybody else's without changing your price or without changing anything else outside of that. And it's making that top of mind suggestion and continuing the branding throughout that there. So there's 3 strategies in place. There's direct response, differentiation, and branding being delivered.
Well said. That's true. And because there is so little physical things being sent out these days, you can really stand out with a printed piece and something that, we've done pop-ups, we've done all sorts of things. So there's opportunity going back to some of the tried and true methods. It's not just all, people that are scrolling and swiping and,
I
go
would
ahead, Florin.
one step further. I think this is more advertising than direct response marketing. But I would like to go back to Mike. Mike has very tricky question, because branding is impossible to be quantified, to have a certain KPIs. That's something you have to start from very beginning. I've been through all this. I had these questions a couple of times, and I think this is a trap where you, as let's say brand developer or whatever element in marketing, branding, sales, you can fall into trying to find the explanation and try to please a prospect and try to find arguments why the branding is good. Sometimes going back, extending this, Rick, what you just said, I call humanizing the brand. And adding all the 5 senses as the humans, right? Smell, seeing, hearing, and all the good stuff. And then in this way, now you try to match, to have that, you're kind of matchmaker, right? Who's the ideal customer for, let's say, Phil or for Anna? And then the brand is that person, the ideal customer, Anna's ideal customer is gonna fall in love with your brand, right? From all aspects. So now building this, now with AI, you can go deep in the developing this brand persona, like you just said, Rick. But this is gonna help you to develop the cultures. That's gonna make you people be more efficient with work. You're gonna develop sort of culture. Then it's gonna help you with the marketing. It's gonna help you with advertising. So you have touching points in everything business. This is gonna help you at the end when it's coming to that business valuation to have a higher coefficient, right? Instead, whatever, 10, 12%, you can even double because you have that goodwill. So here's the true value. And now having a solid brand is gonna help you all the marketing, advertising, sales efforts to go from that branding perspective. Because every dollar you don't invest in sales, you don't invest only in marketing, you invest in brand, and brand's gonna help me to generate more sales. Am I right?
Rick and Linda made that point in different ways. It's called, right, share of voice. Of all the noise that's out there, that people hear all kinds of messages in many different ways, what percent of the noise belongs to your brand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point.
Well,
The
okay.
thing that becomes a little weird there is when you start thinking about polarization and deliberate polarization. What I mean by that, if you I don't want to get into politics, but if you think personal branding is a very, very easy thing to understand. And if I put two people in your mind, if I said, if you think about Tim Cook, right, the CEO of Apple, think about him right now, and you think about it and feel how he makes you feel, and then put Donald Trump in your head. Now, do you feel differently about that person? You may or you may not. But that personal brand has to be so strong that it turns away everybody that might hate you. In fact, generating that hate is a value, that visceral feeling. You want people to hate your brand. iPhone only has 40% of the market. But if you own an iPhone, you hate everything else. And if you own a Samsung or a Google phone or whatever they are, you hate an iPhone. That's all quantifiable. Now, how can you quantify that as far as branding? It's very simple. You can measure it in the engagement in your social media posts or your or whatever things are being said about you. You can also measure it in questionnaires. You can ask questions that open up and actually get the people that hate you to speak. In fact, polarizing messages are the ones that have the most engagement. Now, you can gauge what people think and say about you. And if you're a polarizing brand, and everybody should be, you want the hate to be harder and you want the love to be greater. And that's all very quantifiable because you can read all those responses and messages of people that are very, very passionately hate you. And those are all things you can measure in branding.
And one final, I was going to say one final thing too, is that the value of your brand also, you're going to watch the trend of things increasing. You're going to be moving in this. You may not do a hockey stick straight up unless you do something revolutionary. But you'll see it trend up because your brand is being effective. And you may not fully know the effectiveness of your brand until you get to fill and you're ready to exit your business. And you realize that some of those intangibles that we worked on, or something like, how you present yourself, how you, all of those add up to value. And all of a sudden you've got a market share that you've created with your branding that's very valuable. And to ignore that is a total missed opportunity, no matter what you want to do with your business. I'm sorry, Jim,
Yeah, and Linda, you made a good point of the measurement. Increased market share translates directly to bottom line dollars. If I had 10%, now I have 30%, that's a threefold increase that can be directly translated to profits, because ultimately money makes the business world go round. Mm-hmm. And we're constantly being asked to justify, okay, why should I use you? The question really is, how are you going to increase my profits? And we do the same thing with others. Why should I buy this? Why should I utilize your services? What's in it for the company?
The answer to that question is the easiest way to answer it is to tell you straight up, you're not going to get that answer. And that is something very difficult to communicate. And I personally used to work for a marketing agency that had 90,000 clients in the United States. And I can tell you right now, if I start getting into a branding conversation with you about how much, if you spent $60,000 on Facebook and a branding campaign, how much does that affect your bottom line? Then I would tell you that you're asking the wrong question. That is not the right question to ask. It is not quantifiable. Branding is something that's built over time, that over the course of years and many years over time, your company will be worth more because it's what people think of, right?
Here's an example of how it
That's
can
not
be quantified.
quantifiable.
Here's an example of how it is quantified, quite frankly. I work for a corporation, a large corporation. Our division wanted more market share. And they said, okay, we're going to keep everything else in our marketing execution the same, and we're going to do something in this area. And we're able to measure before, after. Measure.
Then you may or may not be speaking about branding in particular, because typically
I'm
quantifiable
talking about the
metrics.
overall
Yeah,
marketing plan. That's all I'm saying. You
right.
can quantify components of marketing. It's been done, and people in
Oh yeah.
corporations still do it.
Oh,
Well, Mike,
absolutely. So
I
what
think
I'm
that
saying is
the point that is
branding
being
is an
missing
intangible
here
thing.
is that branding and marketing are not the same thing, and
Branding
everybody
is
needs
part
to
of
be
marketing,
making
right?
them. Branding
No,
is a much bigger scope of who the company identity is what your values are, is how you present yourself to the world, is the day-to-day image that you are presenting. Marketing is a lot more targeted and specific. Marketing is the act of selling. Branding is who you are as a company. It's different things.
And they
Does
work
I think that
not
you guys are
branding affect bottom line results?
so if you look at my screen right here, if you look at everything in here, you'll see that very little about this has anything to do with marketing. So if I was to say, look at employee branding, I'm talking about how your employees dress, what their attitude is, what you bring to the table each day, how you speak to people, how you answer emails, what phone calls you make. In business strategy, it's how do you conduct business? What is the personality of the CEO? What is their management style? How does everybody at the business act? Zero of these things have anything to do with marketing or return on investment within marketing capital. And so that's what this actual presentation, the way I was trying to present it, is to try and explain that, what is your logo got to do with marketing? It's nothing to do with return on investment. What does the text that you type when you send out messages have anything to do with that? Where should your business be seen? Where do you hang out? What other brands are you associated with, and what emotion do people feel when they look at your company? That is not a marketing strategy. These are all what I'm saying in my presentation here is branding is involved in every single thing that you do as a company. That has nothing to do with marketing in particular. Now, I do have a small thing about the marketing there because the communication strategy matters. The look and feel matters. Now, this is marketing. And when I say marketing, I'm talking about the branding aspect of the marketing. The way that it's being presented to people is the branding. But if you have marketing that's quantifiable, you're removing branding from the equation for a second and looking at the metrics of performance. Metrics of performance in marketing cannot be identified as branding because branding's just the way it's delivered. It's a different thing.
I would
It's a
say
good conversation. This is a good conversation everybody's having.
I
It
would say
is.
one more thing real quick. It's very difficult to calculate a return on investment on branding. The formula would be ridiculously complicated to determine that, but I can tell you that the return on investment on branding is humongous because branding will allow people to remember who you are and will motivate people to do business with you, regardless of what marketing campaign you're running at the time. Like months, years can go by because people are not going to be ready to use your company whenever you're running a marketing campaign. Like we don't know when they're going to be ready to buy your services or hire you or use you. We don't know that. But if you manage your branding the right way, when they are ready, they will remember you and they will say, you know what? Mike is the person that I want to do business with. And that will be related to your branding, not your marketing, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah, I have a hands-on little example which is more relevant for all of us here. Like I said at one of our meetings, I had back in Romania bakery. That guy has a logo done by his kid was like fifth or I don't know, not even high school. But we're able to sell more than double what were the expectations because of the brand. I was plussing as much as possible on branding. So during the valuation process, we we took advantage of the goodwill. And the question was at some point when the third party was a investment fund from Indonesia. I don't know, it was a mixed Chinese, Malaysia, Indonesia, something from there. So they have some money to invest. And they're talking, okay, what is the brand? Why are you asking for so much money? I told them it's not about the logo. You look at the people in line outside to buy that specific bread. What people are talking in town about this specific little bakery, right? So what we sell, the brand associated with a recipe. So as for them to make sense somehow, because the brand had no equities, they couldn't understand the ROI on that brand. Okay, then I said, okay, we'll justify this because of the recipe, right? But the idea was, no, you should replicate the same concept everywhere you go because they want to build a franchise around this. So everywhere you go, you'll show that people in line buying the bread. So this is the brand, bottom line. So this is a huge asset, probably the number one asset. But so far, I know going back to my experience, and now Linda, you can, or Mike, Jimmy, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Salespeople do not really like the marketing people. And on the other side, the sales and marketing people do not like the brand people because they think that branding guys, they do nothing. Am I right or wrong?
I was just going to bring up that point. I'm so glad you did because this is the marketing and sales group. and yes, that's the other piece of this three-legged milk stool, if you will. We got branding, we got marketing, we got sales. And so we, as people that are involved in branding and marketing design, we need to be in close connection with the sales team of the company. Just one quick example, I flew to Atlanta and met with a big human resources company. They were automating all sorts of processes. They worked with Coca-Cola, et cetera, et cetera. And the engineers had put all these features, packed them into their software. And after, some light investigation amongst their customers, actual customer research and having conversations with customers, they were using about 2% of what the product did. But the engineers were like so I got everybody in the conference room after I had interviewed a lot of key people, the CEO, how she saw the company, one of their top engineers, one of the lower engineers, the receptionist that handled all the calls and the complaints and all of that, the customer service people. And I asked one simple question: what do you think the most important feature is of this, of your company? What do you do better than anyone else? And how do you know? I got different answers from everybody across that strata of that slice of the company. We got in the conference room and I wrote out all those findings, and it showed we're really not on the same page. We could do less of this, more of this, and it just beautifully executed the plan based on feedback. And that's where we went back and had more quantifiable results for that. But it was getting to the point where I usually start when I'm working or talking to the sales team is, what can I do for you and give you that if you had this tool, you could sell more of this product 24/7, 365. What's missing from your toolkit? You're the person that's out there on the front lines saying, here's where I run into an objection. Here's what opens doors. okay, great. That opens doors. You know that. Let's tweak what you're doing and do that more effectively. So sales isn't the enemy. Sales is your ally because they're the ones that are going to be proving that what you're doing is effective, especially if you're coming in as a consultant and you're in and out of the company. But that creates value and measurable returns.
Yeah.
Boy, we could go on. What time is it?
Yeah, it's almost time to go. So I want to close this on my end, and I'm not going to talk anymore. So I think for us as a small business owners, and I'm looking now at Teddy, Jorge, Anna, and a few others in the room, are three elements: branding, marketing, and sales. And we as the small business owners, we should make it make a clear difference between all these three, and to approach each one in that, hang on, I don't want to, that specific way. First of all, I love to have this topic. What is branding? Thank you, Rick. You nail it. It's totally right. We cannot make it better than this. Then it's going to help us to move on, talk about marketing. So for people with less knowledge in branding, marketing, and sales, should make this difference and look with different eyes. And Mike, you had a wonderful question. This was, you opened the Pandora's box. So
Yes, absolutely.
but
And
this is, I would like to be the takeaway for today. Am I right?
yes, I think those are very important things to, as I'd say, to master your customer. What is it?
Yeah.
Our tagline is product, people, fit marketing. Your product has to fit the people. These are people who are buying your product. How well do you know them? And also I'd like to kind of ask each one of you, and just as your own little homework assignment, is what is your recipe? What is your X factor? What is it that sets you apart? We all have competition, whether it's on a global basis or a local regional basis. People that are within a 20-mile circumference of your physical location, or how are you going to look at your competition a little differently now based on what we've talked about? Because that brand strategy, differentiation, stories.
Here's another one.
Go ahead,
Just jumping in here. Today, open up your company website and take a look at it, read the messages that it's saying, and look at other things that you do. And then look at what you're physically doing and how you're answering the phone and how you're acting and other things. And look to see if there are any anomalies. Because quite often, think about your customer. If they look at your website and call you, and the first thing that's said to them on the phone doesn't tie in with your messaging on your website, your branding is off.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. Absolutely.
Can we close the meeting today with an ask for the hot seat for next month? What do you think, Teddy? Would you and Jorge, would you like to join and evaluate a little bit, talk about branding, marketing, and sales, but focus on marketing, on branding?
Yes, as a matter of fact, something that we are revamping our company around. So yeah, I think it will be great. Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
We take the challenge,
probably-
Jorge and I.
Yeah.
We'll be
Perfect.
kind.
And then we can build for the next year. And then Mark, I see you here. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. And
So
Rick, thanks for a great presentation.
It was great.
Yeah. Really got us-
Thank you, Rick. Very enlightening. And Linda, appreciate also your feedback. Yeah.
yeah. Also, Mark, I would like to see if you collaborate with Linda to for December. Also for the hot seat, I
Yeah.
would like to. Do you want to join us? Because you have few projects going on, and you looks like you are rebranding, rebuilding something after little things. What happened lately?
Yeah, absolutely. I know we were on email thread, so I'll get with Linda. I know we wanted to talk mansion and see what you guys can leverage that
Yes.
as an opportunity.
Yeah, this would be another thing I would like to talk with you. The other day, I talked with Mark Tadros, and we want to come over and take a look. I like all four of us to connect next. That's something like
And
to go and visit the location.
we are planning some exciting new things, just so you know, for the
Oh yeah.
new
Oh,
year.
you and Mark, you know something. Okay.
Well,
Okay. No, that's fine. Good.
there are some new, no, I was just talking in general that, Florin, the conversations that we've been having kind of as far as business development for Bright Business.
Yeah.
We have some interesting opportunities that
Yeah.
this group can leverage.
Yeah.
And it affects really all of us.
Yes.
And so we'll have some more news coming about that in the
Mhm.
near future.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope early to 2026 to do something because this is kind of related to what I was talking, Mike, with you. But we'll talk after Friday. But for next week, Mark, I would like to see if you have a day when I, Linda, and Mark Tadros for the Inland Empire. Maybe Jim, if you want to join us to come and see the location and the brainstorm a little bit.
Okay. Probably the 25th as of now. I'll double check though, but the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone know what Mark Miller has in his hip pocket there? It's a mansion called the Mastermind Mansion in Riverside.
It's
That's an
here.
incredible venue for events, for workshops, for different things.
Yes, I mean it's open to anyone that wants to host a workshop based on your particular niche, who you serve, and bringing them together. There's opportunities to collaborate. I know we're in different verticals, well, some of us are, and so we just did a content. We did a content and credit. We did a business is scary for Halloween. Someone hosted an event last week. We got a couple Christmas parties coming up, but people come there, do a podcast, just different things. So we're really just trying to leverage the most, get the most use out of it for the IE, and push it back out there for individuals to have a space to come collaborate, learn, and build.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's why we like to come over, and I'm telling you, Mark is very excited Mark Tadros is very excited to see the location, and we all.
I would like to join also. I know it's
Yeah.
a little, distant, but I would love to join and see the venue and just
Okay.
be part of it. Yeah.
I love it. So let's have one. We have Tuesday. I think we have.
I know that's Thanksgiving week, so people get to traveling and everything. So let me see what Tuesday looks like, and if that works for everyone.
Tuesday we have the downtown San Diego.
Okay, Tuesday, yeah.
After Tuesday.
Okay, well, if everybody's still here on Wednesday, because then Thanksgiving is
And
Thursday.
that's Thanksgiving week. So
It's okay. I'm okay with Wednesday, for example.
Just let me know. Wednesday for Linda, you, Mark, Taddy. I know.
yeah, if it's Wednesday, because of the distance, I would appreciate if we do schedule something early morning, the earliest possible. For me, it'll be probably about close to 2 hours, and on the way back, the traffic, it's Thanksgiving weekend, so it's going to be very hard. So if we do decide Wednesday, probably the earliest possible. I don't know if Monday will be a possibility for all of you.
Monday the 24th, I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, just for the logistics of.
Yeah, I would love that. What do you think, Mark, on 24 Monday?
Let me double check real quick. Something.
And the same, if we can keep it around 9-ish, 10-ish. So what do you think, Teddy? If you SB at 9, 10, is okay with the traffic?
Yeah. I rather, get on the road as early as possible and
you go against traffic anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Monday should work. Monday can work.
Awesome.
Let's make it Monday at 10. Is it okay?
Sounds great.
Monday at 10.
Monday at 10, we're done. So,
And you'll send the
Linda,
location, right?
hmm?
You'll send the location.
Yeah, I'll get it to Floor. He has it, and then he could just send out a reminder to everybody, create a email thread or a text thread.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna use this as an opportunity to share again this link here. Where we have the email address and few spots for all of us to fill out is in Canva. So here we have from our core members, we have the email address, the name, date of birth, no year, just to celebrate our birthdays, and few other elements. And there I'm gonna add the badge, like Francesca, she's gonna add to the website, and few more assets is gonna be on this Canva kind of Google spreadsheet.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Okay.
Perfect.
So now,
Nice.
Mark, you have the email address, and with Linda, let's coordinate all this. And we have now Teddy, Icam, Jim. I hope you're gonna join. Love it. And Mark Tadros for sure. He's the guy who was like, come on, let's get let's connect with Mark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a great gathering spot for, for all of us to do something
Mhm.
every
Yeah.
quarter, every, whatever the interval
Yeah.
might be,
I'm
but in
thinking
person.
this is good idea. I know you are more, Linda, I know you, I think you're more advertising gal than the marketing person. I love that. Talking about this, what I have in mind, I wanna maybe we have a little gala after we talk on next week, after the Monday. But in the same time, I'm thinking to have sort of awards for members which are doing something. And I would like to brainstorm with you, and that if anybody in the room has any idea to reward people in our community for helping each other, I don't know, for being active in our group. I would be to have this every year. And I was talking with Mark the other day.
Hey,
Not
1 second, guys, just to interrupt you. It sounds like you guys are having more of a conversation about organization to do with Bright Business. So if you guys, I'm just gonna head out. I'll catch up with you later.
okay. Thank you one more time, Rick. Thank you.
Have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you,
Great
Rick.
job. Great job. Okay, so we've got a couple of more things that doing an event. I think rewards for members is very encouraging, and we all have opportunities to reach out to our community, to reach out to each other, to help build Bright Business and market and brand it. So
yeah, yeah, but at the same time, the idea is to it's not that much about the Bright Business. The is more about members to have to see who brought value to the members in this ecosystem.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think help us to come with some ideas, and also to see some people we would like to reward. And for example, looking at Teddy, she drove to San Diego last month, all the way from Santa Clarita. She drove to Irvine, or Riverside also, Jorge. So you, Teddy and Jorge, you should be rewarded from my end. So far, I see that commitment. The same thing with Anna. Anna, she came, she was all involved in being a speaker. So every time she was like, okay, pick me. And people like this should be rewarded. But on the other side, like you said, Teddy, the other day, our few referrals are happening in our community, and I have no idea. But maybe it's somebody in a community which are giving to other people, and we want to celebrate them also. They're kind of quiet, silent partners. So
Excellent.
this is the idea. Thank you.
Excellent.
Right.
Okay, Taddy and Jorge on the hot seat for next month. We'll be working on a speaker for next month and let you know who that's going to be. And then here come the holidays, but lots going on. As Florin said the other day, we are really close to something very good here, and yeah, we're going to give it our best.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
That's it for us this month.
Thank you so much. So Mark, if you share the email with the address, we all set, all good to go.
Will do.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. See you Monday.
Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Have a great day. See some of you tomorrow at the IE Club.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Riverside tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.